Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name is Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf. Today I'm starting filming my wrap up for August. I don't know how long this video will be, it just depends on when I decide to end the wrap up. It's not necessarily at the end of August, but I'm wrapping up as I go. I'm showing you bits of what I'm reading as I go, because I'm then using what I've read to fulfill the prompts for the hardest reading challenge that you'll ever do. So you will see me update my boards and what I've chosen for each prompt as we go. So the first book that I finished in August, I can't actually use for Hrcyed because it's a reread for me and rereads don't count, unfortunately. So this book is The Crossroads of Should and Must by Elle. I first came across this book on Morgan Long's channel. She said it was really helpful to her, and I bought a copy from my best friend after I loved it myself, and my copy came from the library. And I am definitely at the crossroads of should and must right now, and so my best friend said, do you want to borrow this back? And I said yes, I want to I want to read it again. So this book is I read it again in one sitting, but it's got exercises and stuff in there, so it's very artistically done. So it's not like a heavy book, but it's just talking about like how do we do the things that we feel we must do when we kind of, our brains try and make us do the things we probably should do. So yeah, it's got some photos, it's got quotes, it's got exercises. Yeah, it's just a really helpful book to try and help you work out like what's stopping you from doing what you want. Why do you feel like you are ignoring your musts in life? How do you even figure out what your musts are? And I really love this book, but like I say, it was well worth rereading. I will keep hold of this for a bit longer so that I can keep looking at the exercises and things in here. And yeah, I love this book, but I can't count it for Hrcyed. The first book that I have finished that I can count for Hrcyed is The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard, and this is part of a 5-book series called the Cazalet Chronicles. I am buddy reading this with Aaron from Aaron Read a Book, or Aaron Read a Book, and my friend Jo Smith, who many of you will know even though she doesn't have her own channel. So this book is a historical fiction book. We are set in the interwar years, so we start in 1937 and we finish in 1938 in this book. And we're following a rather large cast of characters, but helpfully at the front of the book, Elizabeth Jane Howard has included a family tree and a list of all the names of the servants and things as well, which is really helpful because then you can just flip back until you get used to who everyone is. So the main characters, the head of the family, the oldest generation, are the Brig and the Duchy. They have 3 sons, Hugh, Edward and Rupert, all of whom are married with children. And they also have a daughter called Rachel who still lives with them and is unmarried. And every summer, the whole family plus some extra relatives come to the Brig and the Duchy's house. And this story is looking at 2 summers, and the Second World War is very much looming. It's very much a thing that they're anxious about and are frightened is going to happen, especially those who've already been through World War One. And there's also several children in this book, and the children have done so well because not only do we get the normal kind of childhood problems that children have, but we also have the amazing humour that the children have as well, and how funny they are. And I thought that this was a really good book. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. It wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I think it could easily become 5 stars as the series goes on and I get to know the characters even more. But yeah, so this was a great family saga, multi-generational family saga. So for Hrcyed, the prompts that I'm going to use for this one is the series challenge. So for Hrcyed, you have to read an entire series of at least 4 books within the challenge. I think we'll be able to buddy read all 5 of these within the year. They are quite chunky, but they're not slow reads. So I'm hoping that I can achieve this one. So I'm going to use the Cazalet Chronicles as my series, and this is book 1 of the series done. And the other prompt that I'm going to use this for is for the hundreds challenge, which is to read a book in every hundreds denomination from 100 up to 700. So I can use this for my 500s as this one has 553 pages, so that can be my 500s challenge. The next book that I finished was the second in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which I listened to on audio, narrated by Jeff Hayes again. He does an incredible job at all of the voices for the characters, and he's so good at the narration. It's a very like immersive experience listening to Jeff Hayes reading this series. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is probably something people have heard of because it's really like popular on booktube at the moment, but it's called Lit RPG. So basically a literary role player game. In book one, anyone who is inside any kind of building at all is immediately killed at the beginning of the book because the world is transforming into a multi-layered dungeon. So if you're inside, you get dead. If you're outside, like Carl and his cat, Princess Donut, you survive, and then you have to start taking part in this. It's kind of like, from at the outsider's perspective, it's like a video game. So there's levels, there's bosses, there's small bosses, big bosses, power-ups, spells, items you can collect and put in your inventory. There's like internal dialogue that you can type to each other. So it's all the kind of things that we'd find in a video game, but for Carl and Princess Donut and the people they meet, it's their real life. So Carl was progressing down. He progresses, obviously. I don't think it's really a spoiler to say he progresses through the dungeon as the books go on, because his name is in all of the titles. So I'm kind of assuming he survives to the end of the series. But anyhow, he completed the first 2 levels of the dungeon in book 1, and now he's on level 3. And the things that I think are going to keep coming into this book is we're not just going through the levels. Like, as Carl gets into this more, it's a bit like, I think it's going to be a bit like the Hunger Games, where he's basically fighting the system, the overarching system. He's controlling this and making this happen. There's AI and stuff in the books as well. I think he's going to be kind of taking on those kind of things. So I think, yeah, there's going to be more to it than just simple kind of good versus evil kind of 3 levels. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think I gave this, I can't remember how many stars. I think probably like a 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's really good fun, and looking forward to carrying on with the series. So I am going to use for this one, for the genre challenge, I'm classing this as sci-fi. So I googled whether this is fantasy or sci-fi, and Google and Storygraph seem to think it's fantasy and sci-fi because of the different elements in it. But because there's like AI, aliens, like lots of kind of IT gaming stuff, then people seem to lean towards sci-fi a bit more. So I'm going to class it as sci-fi because I can definitely find other things for fantasy. So that's for the genre challenge. And then for by the years, where you have to choose a book from each of the last 10 years, I'm going to choose this one for 2021 when it first came out. So the third book that I can use is called Heart's Appraisal. And this was a NetGalley arc that I was approved for. And this was like a sweet sapphic romance. So it was, I'm very much in the mood for kind of easy to process and good emotions in books at the moment. And this book was following 2 characters. So one is Hazel. She's grown up in this town. It's a small town, America vibes. It's in, I think, Alabama. And she's grown up in this town for her whole life. She's very much integrated the community. She owns some of the buildings, so she's a business owner. And she lives with her dad. And there's a new person who comes into town. So there's Andy. She is a criminal defense lawyer who has basically burnt out in her career, and she wants to leave the legal side of life behind her. And she's inherited a house from her great aunt, who she didn't really know, in this town where Hazel lives. So she comes to the town, and everyone's kind of suspicious of her because she's a lawyer. She's kind of obviously got lots of money. She always dresses smartly. Everyone thinks that she's going to be like this cold-hearted, not very nice person who's going to come and ruin their town. But actually she learns to fit into the town really well. And Andy and Hazel have fall in love basically. And so this is like a cute love story. There's no huge kind of turmoil or big impending doom things that are going to happen. But it's light, it's cozy, it's just a nice sapphic romance. So for that one, I'm going to use it for LGBTQIA plus challenge. So I'm going to use that for the lesbian square. And then I am also going to use it for the rainbow covers challenge. So I'm going to use this for the white front cover. So that's the squares that I'm going to use that one for. I'll also put an updated picture of my board here so you can see the totals before I go ahead and read some more books. So I'm recording this at the beginning of August. It's the 3rd today. All of those books I'd kind of mainly read in July and I've just finished in August. So I will check in with you when I have finished some more books and we will wrap those up and change the board again. Hi, I am on holiday. I am in Cornwall, which is right at the southwest coast of Britain, of England, and it is absolutely gorgeous here. I am so lucky where we're staying. We're staying in a flat, which I'll just turn you around and I'll show you the view from. I'm sitting on the balcony of the flat now, and this is my view. I'm going to stand up so you can see without the glass. So this is my view here. It's absolutely spectacular. And we have the beach literally outside our door. And all across the bay, there's like bars, restaurants. And the best bit of all is there is an independent bookshop here, which I come to every year and I love. So the view's not as good now, obviously. I'll just show you what I'm reading. So I'm still reading Iron Flame. I haven't brought my tripod with me, so I'm really sorry if I'm wobbling around with my camera. Still reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I am probably 2/3 through that now, but because it's so heavy, I didn't want to take it out onto the beach with me. So I bought this with me, The Underdog by Markus Zusak, which I got for when I spun the wheel for my TBR. I spun the wheel of Hrcyed prompts, and this one was for reading the books that have the lowest rating on my TBR. So this is one of them, and I thought it would be a good book to take away because it's really small, it's light, and I love Markus Zusak. So I'm going to read that, and I'll check in when I've actually read enough to tell you a bit about it. Back on the balcony, and I've just finished this. So today was a much more overcast day. I'll show you. So it looks quite nice, but it's actually a bit drizzly at times and just more overcast. So I did more reading. This book is the first in a trilogy of small books, and it's, I think, young adult. It's basically about two brothers, Cameron Wolfe, who's the main character, and his brother Reuben. They have another brother, Stephen, and a sister called Sarah, and he's a teenager. He's just kind of going through normal teenage stuff, teenage emotions. He likes this girl. He doesn't think too highly of himself. He fights with his brother. He feels not good enough at times. She's just kind of going through your normal teen stuff. This, you can tell for me, this is earlier in Markus Zusak's writing career. This one feels like the book he wrote when he had an idea for a book about brothers, and then Bridge of Clay is the book about brothers that really blew me away. Whereas this one, you can tell that he was a less experienced writer, but the ideas were there. I would say that there was good humour in this book, good brotherly experiences together, and there was quite a lot of dreams that he had, which were scattered through the book, which didn't really add anything to it for me. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I read it I just started it yesterday and finished it today. I think I would give it 3.25 stars. So in terms of the squares for Hrcyed, this is definitely going to count for one of the books with the lowest ratings, which was what I spun on the wheel, the 5 lowest of the books I have on my TBR. And the other one, I think I'm going to use for the country and use it for Australia, because this book is set in Australia. Markus Zusak is an Australian author, and so I'm going to use it for the Australia for the country's prompt as well. So yeah, I'm going to decide what to read next, whether to pick up something new or whether to do work on Iron Flame, or actually I'm reading a non-fiction as well. I'm reading the Anthropocene reviewed by John Green on my Kindle, so that can count towards my non-fiction prompt. So I think I'll probably either pick up one of those or one of the other books I brought with me, and I'm hoping I might be able to go to the bookstore today, but I will see just what happens. I think we're going to go to the beach and have some dinner soon. Good morning. I'm out on the balcony, and again, sorry that you can't see my view. If I turn around to film facing the other way, I think because I have the light behind me it won't show properly, but I'll just turn you around as usual. So it's 11 o'clock in the morning, the tide is in, and if I show you down a little bit you can see all the little street where you can sit and people watch down below, which is nice. I actually finally made it to the bookshop, and I have some books, so I'm going to show you what I got. So the first one is the third in a trilogy. I've read books 1 and 2. I read them in Cornwall, I bought them in Cornwall, and I really wanted to get this book this year, and I wanted it in the same edition as what I've got already, and today they had it, so that's really good. So it is We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han, which is the last in the Summer I Turn Pretty series, and it's the TV tie-in edition. So series 3 has just come out on TV, and they're releasing the episodes in dribs and drabs, which is really annoying because I watched the first 4 in a row and then didn't realise that, or 3 in a row I think actually, I didn't realise that there wasn't going to be another one for a couple of weeks, so I'd have stretched them out a bit more. This is following Belly Isabella, who's always gone to have her summer holidays with another family who's her mum's best friend's family, and she has 2 sons, her mum's best friend, and she's always been in love with Conrad, who's the oldest son, and he's never really thought of her as anything apart from his little sister. And then there becomes this kind of love triangle between Belly and Conrad and Jeremiah, who's the other brother. And I won't say any more, but these are like teen romances. They're not like highbrow or anything, but they're super nice to read. And the TV series is really, really good. And so I just wanted to finish this trilogy. And also I can use this for the Her Kid prompt, because for the seasonal reading challenge, you have to read a book set in each season during that season. So we're coming towards the end of summer now. It's the middle of August. And so I need to read this before the end of August. And then the other book that I bought, this one I nearly bought last summer, and I didn't, and then I kind of regretted not buying it last summer. So when I saw it was still there, well, not the same one I'm guessing, but when they had it this year, I decided I would buy it. And this is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. So I haven't read any of his books. I've got Mistborn, but this is a standalone. so that would be good to try. And if this has got a really good average rating, it's like 4.3 or something average, and everyone says this is really good. I think so. It says the only life Tress has known on her island home in an emerald green ocean is the simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. So I'm not going to read anymore because I don't want to get any spoilers. But yeah, so I'm excited to read that. How's the rest of my reading been going? So I am still ploughing away with Iron Flame, which I'm now about 70% of the way through. I finished the Markus Zusak, which you've already seen. I'm still reading the Anthropocene reviewed by John Green, just reading the essays a little bit at a time. And then I also, on a whim, started a book that I got from NetGalley, which was called Go Lightly by Brydie Kennedy. And I'm surprisingly really enjoying that one. So that's what I've been reading. I'm in that kind of position where I'm reading lots of books at the same time and not finishing them. So when that happens, you then end up finishing a whole group of them in at the same time. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading, and I'll check in when I've got another update. Now I've just turned the camera around and actually you can still see me, so I should have recorded the whole video standing like this, shouldn't I? Because it would have been a much nicer background than a white wall. So if I manage to check in again tomorrow, I'll do it this way around. I just finished this. I really liked it. It's the last one in the trilogy, as I said before, and I thought I'd finish this before I watched the rest of the TV show because I didn't want to get confused what was book, what was TV show. I don't know whether they're exactly the same or whether they deviate from each other in terms of the ending. But this series just, I think because I started watching the TV show when I was going through a hard thing, and it's always been like a comfort watch for me, and so these books have meant something to me. This book made me cry and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I give this one 4.5 stars. I'm really glad I read it. I only bought it yesterday and I finished it today, and it's really nice when you buy a book and start it straight away. So yeah, I read it on the beach, I read it on the balcony, and I finished it indoors in the lounge of our flat, which is the last day before we go home today, which is really sad. So this one I'm going to use for 2 squares, one of which is the seasonal square. So this is a book set in the summer, which I read in summer. And so that takes me up to 1 out of 4 for that square. And then I'm also going to use it for the alphabet square. I'm trying to remember which square I decided to do it for now. I think I was going to do it for the H for Han. And that takes me up to 5 out of 26 on the alphabet squares. So that's that wrapped up. I've got several books that I'm in the middle of, so I'm going to pick back up one of those and I'm going to go out to the beach and carry on reading. So as you can see, I'm now back from holiday. I had a really good holiday, which I really needed. We were all very much in need of a break and had a great time. I managed to finish 3 more books, and so I'm going to wrap those up and then wrap this video up because it's probably quite long when I edit it together, and then I'll start. The other books I'm reading will be for my next month's Hrcyed video. So the first one I finished finally was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, the second in the Empyrean series after Fourth Wing. I really enjoyed this, but it was so long. So it was 620 something pages, but the writing is small, really small, and the pages are huge because it's a hardback. So I think if it was a paperback, it would be a lot longer than that. So this follows on from book 1. I'm obviously not going to give any spoilers. It's romantasy, it's there's politics in here, there's loads of dragons, which I love stuff with dragons in, and I found that the cliffhangers were really good in this. I felt that a lot of the time I would finish a chapter and then have to go straight on to the next chapter because there was a massive cliffhanger on the previous one. The only thing I would say is I think it could have been shorter. So whilst I really enjoyed it, I think there were some bits which could have been condensed down to make the whole book a bit shorter. And the one after this is shorter. I think it's about 100 pages shorter. So I think when this was first written, it was going to be a trilogy. And so I wonder if that's why this one was longer, because it was going to be the penultimate book. And then once, I think it's now going to be 5 books, which is probably like a publishing decision to make more money. And therefore, I wonder if this one wouldn't have been as long if she'd written it like that from the start. But that's just me surmising. I gave this one a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So for my categories, just referring to my list, I'm hoping that I'm getting this right. I definitely wanted to use this for By the Hundreds because obviously it's 600 pages. It makes sense to use this book. So I'm going to use it for 600s for By the Hundreds, which means I have now completed 2 out of 7 of those squares. And then I'm also going to use it for my fantasy book in the genre challenge, which will take me to 3 out of 8 for genres. So, and I also use that for, I was really behind with, so Ben's challenge for the Ben Reads Good challenge, which I'm also doing. I was up to date apart from February because it was a book with flames on the cover. I used Iron Flame, but yeah, because I took so long to read it, that's now complete as well. So I used it for that too. The next book I finished was on audiobook, and this was called Surprised by Oxford by Carolyn Webber. This one surprised me actually because I really enjoyed it. So I was scrolling through Netflix one day, or Prime, I can't remember which one, trying to choose a film, and I saw this one which looked like a romance film which was set in Oxford University. So I thought, excellent, that sounds just what I want to watch. So I watched it, and it was surprised me because it was actually like had very Christian themes, and I wasn't expecting that. It was about Carolyn's, she's from Canada. She'd come to Oxford to study on a scholarship, and she'd kind of found Christianity as part of her move to Oxford, I guess. And so I was kind of surprised by that because I didn't think that was what the film was about. Then at the very end of the film, this isn't a spoiler, it says that it was based on a true story and that she went on to be the first female dean of Peter's College in Oxford. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm interested to look up the book. So I looked up the book and saw that it was free on Audible. So I decided to just start listening to it. And because I wanted to really hear about her academic journey. And I really enjoyed the audiobook. So the narrator is fantastic. And it's a memoir. It's about Carolyn coming from a difficult family background in Canada, moving to Oxford, and then basically through the people that she meets and through the kind of traditions of Oxford, she becomes curious about religion for the first time in her life. And it talks a lot about her academic journey because she's studying the Romantic poets as her degree. And so it does talk about that. It talks about the kind of academic culture at Oxford and the friends that she's made and things. But it also very much talks about her discovering her faith. And whilst I have a lot of differences between my beliefs and Christian doctrine, I did enjoy her journey and her sort of self-discovery, and as well as the academic side. So I really, really enjoyed this. I think the narrator really made it come to life as well. And I actually ended up giving this 4.5 stars. Really good. So for the categories, I'm going to use it again for genres. I'm going to use it for non-fiction for the genres. I'm also going to use it for the non-fiction challenge, which is to read 5 different types of non-fiction. And I'm going to use this as memoir. So I debated whether to use it as like religion or something like that. But on Storygraph, it's categorized as memoir. So I'm going to use it as my memoir for the challenge. So that's that one. And then the final one that I finished was called Go Lightly by Brydie Lee Kennedy, which I had hoped to read in August. I got it as an ARC from NetGalley. And I read it on my Kindle. It was better than I thought it would be. I went in with kind of just average expectations, didn't really know what to think, but actually really enjoyed it. So I did talk about this a little bit already, I think, when I was filming clips, but It's about Ada, who is an actress who's come over from Australia and is spending time in London. Her sister's in America and is about to have a baby, and her parents are still in Australia. Ada is a really chaotic person. She's got a kind heart, but she makes bad decisions for herself, and she just is really disorganized her whole life. Like, she's living in debt. It's like, she's quite chaotic. And she meets a guy online called Stuart, who I have to say was giving me bad vibes from the start. And she also meets a girl called Sadie, and Sadie ends up staying with Ada sort of in the longish term, because she hasn't got a place to stay at the moment. And Ada pursues relationships with Sadie and Stuart at the same time. And so it's the things I liked the best were the scenes where Sadie and Ada were with the other flatmate Mel, and they were all cooking together in the kitchen and chatting and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed those scenes. There's a lot of good food writing in here, which I really like in a book. I less liked the whole bit with Stuart, and I really actually feel that that didn't even particularly need to be in the book. He could have just been cut out completely. But didn't like his bit so much. But then there's also a bit where her sister has her baby and she goes out to America to meet her sister's baby. She's had a really difficult relationship with her sister growing up, and so the dynamics of the relationship and her being with her parents again and everything was really good, and I really liked that bit as well. So I found this was quite compulsively readable. I didn't always have likable characters in. You questioned Ada a lot, what the heck she was doing, but I did actually find lots of things that I did like in this book as well, and I would give it a probably 3.75 stars. So it was a good book. For this one, I'm going to use it for, as part of the Queer Rainbow Challenge, I'm going to use it for bisexual, because Ada, the main character, is bisexual. And I'm also going to use it for the letter G in my A to Z challenge, which I think makes 5 out of 27, unless I have said earlier in this video that I'm going to use any other letters, in which case I'll just correct the overall bingo board. So that is my wrap up for sort of the end of July to nearly the end of August, of all the books I read for Hrcyed, all the books I read in general, and some holiday footage as well. So I hope you enjoyed watching. If you've got comments on the video or any of the books I've read, of course, leave them below. And if you've got any just general things you want to talk about, tell me about what you've been reading, etc. If you're doing Hrcyed, tell me if you're doing Hrcyed as well. And especially if you're doing videos about it, so I can go and watch your videos. And I will be back next month for another Hrcyed wrap up. Until then, have a lovely week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.